Hi loves, it's Shaaba, welcome to my channel and thank you for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to talk quite real about my relationship with Jamie and a bit of a worry that I had at the beginning of our relationship that is no longer a worry now and that I thought might help some people who could be in similar positions. Before I do that though, I would like to give a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Pride Counselling. Relationships can be a tricky thing to navigate, particularly if you are part of a minority group, such as being LGBT+. And if you are LGBT+ and would like to talk to someone about perhaps the struggles that you're going through, Pride Counselling could be a great resource for you. Pride Counselling provides private online counselling specifically for LGBT+ people. I have used them and they've been an incredible help for me. All of their counsellors are LGBT+ friendly, which automatically initially annihilates a huge concern that I certainly had. And if you don't get on with your counsellor for whatever reason, you can switch. Just like that. Just like that. The counsellors on the service are also licensed, trained and fully accredited, with at least 3 years of experience and certification from their state's professional boards. And it's online, which not only means that you can take it however you need to from the comfort of your own home, it also means that it's significantly cheaper than most in-person counselling, which is certainly the case for me, as my current Pride Counselling therapist is legit half the cost of my previous therapist. And if you're thinking, oh, I'd love to, but I can't quite afford it, that is totally fine. Just to let you know, Pride Counselling do offer financial aid that you can apply for, because no one should feel left out for trying to protect their mental health. So if you would like to find out more or perhaps sign up with Pride Counselling, you can use my link downstairs in the description box, pridecounselling.com/Shaaba. And by using that link, you'll also get 10% off your first month. Yay! Back to the video. Jamie and I met when Jamie wasn't Jamie, so pre-Jamie, right? When we were 16, and we got together about a year after. We were like best friends during that year when we were 17, and the age of 17 is a tricky year. It's a fun year, don't get me wrong, but we're also self-learning, which is so important. We're developing as individuals, and now we're in a relationship, we're also developing as a couple. We also had some pretty intense individual journeys going on. I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but if you're new, perhaps you don't know, Jamie was transitioning during that time, which is an incredibly intense personal journey for him to have been on. And alongside that, I was navigating understanding what that meant for my sexuality. I was also navigating being disowned and moving in with Jamie's family who took me in. So obviously because of all of that, whilst we're having incredible high moments with our relationship and getting to know about each other and love each other in this totally new way, we did have that year of friendship beforehand that really grounded us. And so from that, it was really easy for us both to rely on each other when we were feeling down. It makes sense, right? It's what you do. You rely on each other, and especially when a lot of my personal problems and my family problems were, I wouldn't say stemming from my relationship, because a lot of it was to do with my identity. My relationship with Jamie was definitely like the catalyst that made everything kind of explode. It was like the reason, the tangible reason they could see to be like, no, we don't like you. Or for one person to be like, no, I don't like you. But yeah, because of that, I was hyper aware that our relationship had become pretty political. Yes, I was with Jamie because I loved him and I knew that he loved me. But alongside that, there was also this huge need to prove that our relationship was right, that it was okay, and that people didn't have a right to interfere with it, right? My personal life, that mostly meant to my family, and the wider circles, it also meant to our friends. We had so many incredible supportive friends, but there were some people who didn't want to know Jamie anymore because he transitioned, or didn't want to know me anymore because they were like, ew, what does that mean about you? Are you like a lesbian now? Which would have been totally fine if I was a lesbian. I'm not a lesbian, but clearly some people would have had a problem with that. Taking a step further detached still, Jamie accidentally became a creator during that time, and I accidentally joined him, which is why we're both online now. But even with our significantly smaller platforms back then, we were getting a lot of hate, as you would expect. Everybody gets hate, especially minority communities. It was less of a problem right at the beginning of our relationship. Then when we started talking about it online to help ourselves and to see if there was a community that understood what we were going through, there was of course haters. Like now, I couldn't give a shit about haters. Like seriously, you do you, babe, it's fine. But even though that was eradicated, I still felt like there was a political pressure placed on our relationship because our work life as creators became so almost codependent. Not fully, but there was definitely an element of it that really relied on us being together. We made content together. A lot of the news stories and the pro-social things that we would do involved speaking about our relationship and breaking the stigma of cis people like me being with trans people, because that's okay. And that added a pressure too. I hope I'm making sense. It was a very tricky thing to navigate, and I think because I always overthink and question things as well, like I have a very, I was gonna say scientific mind, I have a process in my mind. I'm like, am I doing what I'm supposed to do in terms of relationships? Because it was all very new to me. Jamie was the second person I'd ever properly loved, and the first person I truly fell in love with, I think, because I still don't really know what that means means to fall in love with someone. I'm pretty sure I'm in love with Jamie. That was my point. Like, there was a nugget of me that really questioned, am I in love with Jamie? Because what does that feel like? And am I thinking that I'm in love? And because there's no like flowchart to tell me what that means, am I deluding myself into thinking that it's love when really it's just this political need to be together to prove everyone wrong because I'm also a stubborn cow, you know? And I really want to reiterate, it's not because I didn't or don't love Jamie. I absolutely do. It's just because love is one of those concepts that you can't put a rule book to. You can't quantify it. You can't measure it. And so I need that reassurance. And this is just one of those contexts in which I will never receive that reassurance. There is no flowchart for love. And I was really nervous. There was a part of me that was kind of worried. There was always like this tiny little saboteur in the back of my mind that was like, oh, if things go well for you, I wonder if you're still going to be in love. Are you still going to want to be together because you want to, if there's now no longer a need to? Younger, like teenage Shaaba, who was still growing and self-developing and not really understanding what a serious relationship was, had that worry a lot. And spoiler, just to put it out there, that's not the case. It didn't happen. This isn't like a spilling tea or shade moment, but I definitely know of a lot of couples, well, who used to be online and who used to be couples, because I think being online does put a lot of pressure on a relationship because people expect you to be together. There's a wider community invested in that. And when that's no longer there, if it's not working, they just kind of break apart, and that's fine. We all grow as people. Sometimes we don't grow together, especially when we're all that young and still figuring ourselves out. It's totally normal to feel like you're no longer compatible with someone because there is a lot of changing and growing that happens during that time. But since that time, when we were 17 and going through a lot of crap, even 18, 19, you know, it takes years. We have grown individually as people. I feel like we are both very established as both Shaaba individually and Jamie individually, and now as Shaaba and Jamie together. I'm really relieved to be able to say that I don't feel like there's any political pressure on our relationship anymore. I absolutely did feel it beforehand, but not now. The stuff with my family may not be great, but it's for other reasons, not because of my relationship with Jamie. In terms of that, the people that I care about and who love me are absolutely fine and accepting of our relationship. It took a long time to get there, 5 years plus, and a Channel 4 documentary with this director that forced us to have these really important conversations that I'm very grateful for, because without them, we wouldn't be in this position, but we are there, and that's no longer a stress for me. In terms of online, I really don't care anymore about what haters say. Maybe there's like occasional niggles, you know, when my mental health is feeling really low, but for the most part, you can say what you want, and that absolutely does not feed to any political pressure of my relationship. And I think another thing that contributes towards that is that personally, my relationship with social media has become significantly healthier. It's still not healthy. I don't think it's the healthiest. I don't think anyone could truly and authentically say, as a creator, yes, using social media is my full-time job and I have an absolutely healthy relationship with it. That's a video for another day, but my point is I see now and I recognize and I navigate with the boundaries that I show you, I invite you into parts of my relationship that I want you to see and spread the love, and that's fantastic. But I don't feel judged or pressured or like I owe this wonderful community anything from my relationship. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is all of those pressures are completely gone, and I absolutely think that my relationship is significantly better for it, because now I know for certain that our relationship exists because we want it to, not because there is any feeling that we need it to. Yeah, we struggle together, and yes, we stay together even without that struggle because it's something we wanted to do. Not because we're being stubborn, not to prove a political point, but because we just genuinely enjoy each other's company. And I really wanted to talk about it because I know that that isn't always the case. That was certainly the case with me and my ex. I think when you go through hardships sometimes and you have someone that you love and that you can really truly rely on, sometimes the line between relying on someone and having those troubles and struggles consume you, either as a person or consume you as a unit, when that struggle is no longer there, it also takes away that relationship and you're left with just nothing, you know, or a sense of nothing, or a sense that when these struggles disappear, you know that there will be nothing, because that's the only thing that's really keeping you together. Within a relationship, the dynamic and the roles that you play for each other is that you are a team. right? You and your partner, or multiple partners, are a team. You work together. What your relationship partner is not is a crutch. As a teammate, you can of course rely on a partner. That's not what I'm saying is a bad thing. The bad thing about the crutch is I think there's a line where relying on someone becomes using someone. It isn't healthy long term. It isn't healthy if that's consistently done. Of course, I think all of us at some point feel like we are used by our partners or use our partners to get through really hard small moments, and that's okay. And then we can love and appreciate and say, man, thank you so much. I know when things are really tricky, that when shit hits the fan, you are there for me, and I'm so appreciative of that. But the problem of the crutch comes when things don't get better, or when beyond using that, you don't love that person for any other reason. That's an unhealthy situation to be in, and I wish that someone had told me that 10 years ago. And knowing that would have really helped relieve me of some of the political confusion that I had over the relationship that I had with Jamie when we were still learning and growing. So if you are in a relationship that may be somewhat political, perhaps you're fighting for your place as an individual or with a partner/partners, I'm sure this thought may have crossed your mind. I hope this video helps somewhat. Couples that struggle together can stay together as long as the struggling is done as a team. As long as when the struggle is over, it hasn't fully consumed your relationship to the point that there is no longer anything else there. Relationships are still built on a foundation of love and friendship, not mutual struggle. Yay! Alright, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. What's that little join button down there? Be kind and have a great day. Bye!